All right, guys, so I'm here getting my oil changed. Finally. Poor Thunder. Since somebody said there was a button somewhere on my... He goes, did you know you had a button somewhere on your steering wheel up the top left? Huh? These buttons? That's the only buttons I can see. I don't see any other buttons. These look like buttons, but they're not buttons. I do like that steering wheel cover. It's a little bit crooked, but I do like it. Makes it feel more sporty. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be getting my oil changed today. God knows how old this oil actually is. And I have to set up my GoPro things in here. Yeah, so I was talking about the SRT 10. I was watching the regular cars review on it. It's kind of funny. And I think the guy he's ridiculous in a lot of ways, but he is kind of funny. He does make a couple of cool points about that, like all the Dodge trucks from that, like that era, like they're never going to build anything like that again. And it's true, like the Hellcat's going away, the Dodge Challenger's going away, because they want everything electric now, right? And performance cars in the future are going to be electric, whether we like it or not. I do believe battery technology will get better, but the problem is cars in general are going to be less frequent, just because the amount of copper they need to wire up an electric vehicle is obscenely crazy. There's not enough copper in the world to replace the 1 billion vehicles on the road worldwide, right? And they know this. So like it's the gas powered engine is, especially the diesel powered stuff is not going anywhere anytime soon. The problem is the way the world is organized by people that don't necessarily know or care, even if they do know, about practicality. So it's like, we'll just ban this and bring in this, and if it works, great. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the approach they're taking with the electric vehicles. Electric vehicle everything, right? So you're never going to see another SRT 10 or, V12 Jag or a V12 Aston Martin or anything like that. That is a cool truck. That is very cool. You're never going to see, these, like the elephant engine in the red eye, Hellcat red eye or whatever. You're never going to see those things in the future because it's just, environmental, blah, blah, blah. And once they stop making them, I think what is that, we can't bring them back because of environmental, right? So the V8 truck, I think, has still got lots of life left in it for another 20 to 50 years, just out of practicality. But what was the SRT 10? The SRT 10... Okay, well, let's start at the bottom. What was the bottom truck? The bottom truck was your regular Ram, right? That was for, whether it was a tradesman, a Ram Bighorn for luxury, or just a, base model Ram. And then you had your kind of like, not one-offs, but, special editions. So let's say you wanted normal performance of a Ram. You didn't want to pay for anything too extra, but maybe a couple of little goodies. Well, you got the Daytona. The Daytona was cool. It had the little spoiler wing on the back. Yeah, it kind of looked kind of hokey and ridiculous, but it also made it really cool because it was unique, right? And that truck is this truck, just with a nice paint job and a funky looking wing on the back. Fake hood scoop, everything like that. Same as mine, Then you had the Rumblebees, right? The Rumblebees were really cool, but it depended on which Rumblebee. So you had automatic Rumblebees, you had the quad cabs like this, you had Rumblebee this, Rumblebee that, but the Rumblebees came in automatics, which was basically this truck with a fancy paint job, and maybe a nice exhaust on it, like the Daytona. But then you had the Rumblebees that were basically the SRTs, like the powerhouses. These ones, there was very few of these. And these were typically the reg cabs, standard, I think 6-speed transmissions, whatever. It was a sport truck, short box, 600-700 horsepower, whatever they were. And that was pretty much the king dog of trucks. But then they, which... all the Dodge Rams of that era sold well, but that wasn't enough. So I don't know who was snorting cocaine or drank way too many Red Bulls while they were snorting cocaine at Dodge and said, the Rumblebee is really cool, but we need a V10. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, what happened. It's just like, why did they build it? Well, it's the same reason why the first guy climbed Mount Everest. It was there. They could. Why? It wasn't a question of should they. It was a question, could they? And that's what I've always liked about Dodge, is the stuff that we laugh at is also the stuff we love the most about them. When they do stuff like that. And right now, there's the, the TRX, the Dodge Ram TRX. That thing's pretty insane. But it doesn't have the charm of the Rumblebee. It doesn't have the charm of the Daytona. It doesn't have the charm of the SRT 10. Even though the SRT 10, depending on what package you get, if you got the base model one, you can still find those for, I mean, there's like 10,000 trucks that they made of the SRTs, right? 10s, right? But there's only a handful of like the sport one with the nice spoiler and the racing stripes and all that. I think there's one up here. I think they only made 600 of those. So if you have one of these trucks, you basically got a truck that will fetch anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000, $100,000 depending on the mileage. And still goes like a bat out of hell, but is a truck that, I don't know what it would be like living with it day to day, can get over 10 miles per gallon, which to me is actually not bad. Like I would never complain about a truck getting over 10 miles per gallon, right? Like you say, oh, that's horrible mileage. It's a truck. You know, trucks get horrible mileage, period. It's slightly worse than a regular Ram. So it means you could live with it. Like it would be easier to live with an SRT 10 Ram than it would be to live with a supercar. You know, maybe not a Corvette. Corvette actually gets not bad mileage, or say like a Mustang or the Challenger. They get good mileage. You know, like these are 25, 20 mile per gallon cars. Maybe some of them even get 30 if you really behave, right? But I'm like, that's not, you know, why you buy those kind of trucks. Those trucks are not something you're going to work with. You're buying it because it's something rare and unique. And I've seen a couple of them broken for whatever. To me, I like the Rumblebee. The yellow Rumblebee is the one. They tried a new Rumblebee concept in 2013, but I don't think it took. It looked good. You know, the Speed Bee on the side there, they changed them up. There's a black Rumblebee, kind of rusted out in a neighboring town from me. I think it runs, but a lot of these, well, the proof is in the pudding. Like the fact that these trucks have rust on them means they were daily driven. You know what I mean? They were driven in the winter. They were driven in the summer. You know what I mean? So it's cool to have a truck that's a bit of a showpiece, but it could also be utilitarian and practical to a degree. Now, mind you, a two-wheel drive short box is not a practical truck, even with a V8. I mean, it's practical in the summer if you're just pulling boats and camping trailer or something like that. But as a work truck, scrap metal, whatever. Yeah, I got the same size box here, but you know, like as you see, there's like all kinds of stuff in my back seat here. So like this truck is a good work truck. You know, like it's a great work truck. But the SRT 10 with the Viper engine is a really crazy idea. There's only been a handful of V10 trucks, kind of like back in the 70s and 80s when you had the opposite. You didn't have a V10 truck. What you had was a 10 or a 12-foot box. These trucks with these 10-foot, 12-foot boxes, which concept-wise, a reg cab with a 10-foot box or a 12-foot box would be awesome, right? Yeah, pain in the ass to park, but not really, because you're just giving up your back seats for two more feet of box, right? On an 8-foot box or a 10-foot box or whatever. So yeah, you'd be a little bit longer, but you wouldn't be much longer than a dually with an 8-foot box, you know, in a full cab. But the work you could get done. The problem is the frames weren't, they were just too long to be, you know, like as soon as your frame started rotting, you'd get the, or that, you know. So that's why, like, it was just, you know, like there was a lot of drivetrain issues with the long, like once you get past 8 feet, it's just because you're torsioning too much, right? And I think a lot of those, they actually broke off past the axle on the backside and folded that way. But yeah, like that was a work truck designed to be a work truck, to be truckiest truck that could ever truck, right? So when we get into like the 80s and 90s, late 80s, early 90s, trucks are turning into sport trucks for people in the city, right? Which is okay, it's a genre, but when Europeans come here, they're always like stunned by the amount of trucks they see in like Canada, the United States. Like, why does everybody own trucks? You have to live here to understand it. Now, maybe I'll explain that in the next video. But yeah, the SRT 10, very cool. I'd still take the Rumblebee just because of the look. But yeah, tell me what you guys think.